My property burnt.
We couldn't rely on any organisation, any system, government, anybody to help out.
If we didn't do it, who was going to?
I'm here. I'm not getting paid. Your government officials are paid to do this work. Tell me why I'm still doing it.
I asked for help, a tent. I was given, in the middle of winter, a little summer tent. I couldn't even get a blanket, a pillow.
When we had storms and, stuff's getting blown around and ripped apart and sort of soaked by the rain, it makes you very aware of your vulnerabilities as a human and how important shelter is.
We thought it may have slowed down a little bit since the bushfire, but in actual fact, the help is actually required more now than before.
Climate justice recognises that the people most affected by climate change are the ones that have had least to do with producing the problem.
I'm excited to stand up for what I think is right.
It's hard, but it's worth it. These people are worth it.
The media, the day the house burnt down, all the piranhas came out, and they were saying, "How do you feel? How do you feel?"
And the next thing is, I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh, I hate that saying.
The guy down at the news agency said, "That's a real bugger."
Yeah. And someone we met down at Balmoral Village, and they said, "Did you lose everything?" And we said, "Yes." "Oh, shit, that's a bugger." The Colorbond shed directly behind us is where we live, and we'll be living in that until July this year. Come on in. I put some lights on, I think. Are we in here? Here we go. 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 Because we couldn't rely on any organisation, any system, government, anybody to help out. So we decided to take control. We bought the kitchen for $99 on eBay. And then in here, we've got our just a shower system that we set up, and that sets us up in almost like a one-bedroom apartment. When we moved in, we didn't have any windows because the cost of the shed didn't include windows. So we lived for 9 months with not a window. We lived in the pitch black. We had one light in the shed. Introducing our windows from Anglicare, which finally shed some light in our life and some fresh air. We've put in a slow combustion stove to keep us warm because we froze last winter. We call it the home shed. By the time we move into the house, we will have been living in this shed for 14, 15 months.
The next one's going to be a family box. Family, 4 children, so we need the works. Double up on the spaghetti, baked beans, and noodles, please. Gosh, it's hot. We tend to try and put in things like bickies, veggies, because if they've been bushfire affected, most of them can't grow in the ground yet, and because we're an hour to 2 hours from any supermarket, it's very hard to get or keep any fresh vegetables because they now don't have a roof over their head, and very few of them have got fridges. You're going well there, Rod. I was the RSL secretary here for Can River, and when I returned from being evacuated, I was approached by a couple of the older people saying they were desperate for food, that they felt forgotten. For the first 2 days of the week, we pull everything together, and then they either collect or we do the deliveries at the end of the week or weekends. I hate missing people out. Now this one's for a gentleman, Cassie. Yep. On his own, an elderly gentleman. I'm not a registered charity. I don't get funding. All our food in the container has been donated because without it, we can't keep going. And with the help of my trusty volunteers, we get it together. None of us rich.
Then-
all,
just pay it
all,
forward.
all disabled, diabetic with no toes on his feet, a cancer sufferer, and of course I'm disabled myself.
And I'm just here to keep an eye on all.
Oh, she keeps us in line. Cass, can you see if there's any toddler nappies with this lot, please?
I can grab some of that.
So yeah, it's hard, but it's worth it. These people are worth it. Can I just get in there, please, Rod? It's been going for 12 months, and I think it's going to go for a lot longer.
There were instances of Aboriginal people showing up at evacuation centres and relief workers being pretty explicitly racist. The needs of Aboriginal people are not indifferent to those of non-Indigenous community members, but there are added needs that are deeply complex, that are historically complicated. More than 96,000 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people were directly affected by the Black Summer bushfires. 96,000 Aboriginal people represents 12% of the entire Indigenous population of Australia. A lot of people who live in these regional townships, and the ones in particular affected by the Black Summer bushfires, you know, they do have connections to the country, a lot of to the land and to the townships and to the community. But then you look at the needs of Aboriginal people in those places, and specifically traditional owners. Like, these are people with deep, ancient and spiritual attachments to these landscapes. And not just landscapes, but like particular parts of the landscape as well, particular plants, particular animals, particular landscape features like mountains and rivers, waterholes, those kind of things. These are the things that were, you know, destroyed largely in the bushfires and will take generations to recover, if they ever recover to that state again.
My property burnt, and I didn't want to go back to the property. I just couldn't do it this summer. I was afraid, actually, so I decided to come here and volunteer here.
The good news, we updated the stats yesterday. We've ticked over to 80,000 hours, which is amazing effort on this camp. We've put in 80,000 hours of volunteering in the local community.
I saw this town on the news so much, it broke my heart, and I thought, this is where I need to come.
So we've finished 126 properties. Still so many more to do though. But let's focus on the good. That's what we've achieved.
My work here, my typical day is I'm the cook. There are 4 days I get up at 5 in the morning. I don't leave the kitchen until everything's done at 9:30 at night. I was the only cook until yesterday when I got someone to help me. That was very hard. I didn't think I could do it. But I thought, no, challenge. Been through enough, I can do this. And I can, actually. I never cooked vegetarian in my life. I'm pretty good at it, actually. Blaze Aid actually saved my sanity because I was just getting angry, lost. I did think about suicide. And then I went over to Blaze Aid and I said, can I come and volunteer here? When you're a part of, even if you're cooking, it's an honour to do this.
Dinner is early tonight at 6 because Julie's trying to get a winning Blaze Aid trivia team together. So if you're up for that, see Julie.
Blaze Aid is not just volunteers helping people fence. It gives a chance for someone like me to breathe. Breathe. Yeah.
The fires was, it was an event, but it's an ongoing thing. Like, it didn't just happen and we're able to walk away from it. Like, the trauma that goes to that, like the psychologists that came down, they were saying like we would see impacts in the next coming year and the 2 years after. So it's like,
but they were only here for 2 months.
Yeah, but like that was the psychologist predictions and stuff. And yeah, I feel like kind of people forget that they're still impacting people still. Yeah.
Okay, we're going out to one of our little hamlets or rural communities called Club Terrace. They were quite heavily decimated in the fire, well over, I'd say 60% of that little hamlet, and all the houses on the outskirts surrounding that area were absolutely burnt to the ground. So we're going to do just a few deliveries and just check on them, see how they're going. All down that side there was all houses, and every one of those houses are gone. There's only 2 houses remaining on School Road, but there were 6. The few houses that remain were very, 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 very lucky. We thought it may have slowed down a little bit since the bushfire, but in actual fact, the depression and the help is actually required more now than before. They were in shock before. They were numb before. And it was just putting one foot in the front of the other. Now the reality's hit home, that they haven't got a home. They're almost penniless, a lot of the people we look after, surviving on incomes now that have been either halved or quartered. So as one elderly couple said to me last week, if I didn't give them food, they wouldn't have had anything to eat for the next 2 weeks. The general consensus is they were forgotten, and I have to say they were.
This is Felix. I've had him for about 1.5 years, so they've been through the fires with me. And now I can't be separated from them now, not at all. They still have respiratory problems from the smoke. His tongue's always out. He'll sit at the window and just poke his tongue out at everybody. I have him famous on TikTok. We've got number 5 here. And he died, and I watched him die, so resuscitated him, and he's still alive, aren't you? There was just nowhere to put them out of the smoke. I had nowhere out of the smoke.
I asked for help, a tent. I was given, in the middle of winter, a little summer tent. I couldn't even get a blanket, a pillow. I met the farmers that would come when I first got here, and they would talk to me and tears in their eyes, and I started crying with them because I was the only volunteer that knew and felt what they felt.
There's a lot of people still living in caravans and under tarps and things along that road. There's little encampments all over. Wherever you see a container and a couple of caravans, that's probably where someone lost their house. At the moment, we're only doing boundary fences.
So long the highway is secured, that's the most important for me.
So this is where
the house was,
and that's where it will be?
Will be again, yeah.
Yeah.
I came to Australia with a suitcase and left with the suitcase.
Yeah.
To Bermagui and the Narooma, The flames, everything, the embers, it was just scary. I said always, we will be back tomorrow. 3 days later, on the house. Yeah, 1 year passed, yeah.
Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah.
Where did that go?
What you can say, everybody was suffering here in the area, There's across the road on the hill there, Jim, he lives in a caravan, is cooking outside. Here behind me, Barry, he probably builds a shed up and lives in a shed.
We don't tend to get on each other's nerves because we've been together since we were 17, so we really become one organism and just exist together in here.
It's been a blessing to get all the rain, but with all the rain you get all the growth that you're forever fighting.
You bleed money and you can't help it. You try to stop money from going out the door, but you bleed money. You start to bleed money when the property burns down and you have no electricity and you have no water, and you have to have that connected.
But we got the electricity back on here through one of the Red Cross grants, and it cost us $6,500.
Yes. You think, you get a $5,000 grant and it costs you $6,500. So that's what I meant about bleeding money. If you've got savings, you will watch it disappear. If you have insurance money, you will watch it be spent in ways that you don't want it spent.
You hear so much about, oh, the government's doing this, and you say, well, I've never heard about that, and whatever. And there is no one you can go to. You have to try and weasel out all this information from all these different sources. If you're in a situation like we are, and you are not, your mental health is not all that great, you just give up.
Yes.
You just give up.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the charities, we would be in a well of despair. If it was just the government, we'd be homeless, hungry, angry, and suicidal.
No. Outside. Dogs and ducks don't go together. In the back of my mind, I was thinking I dare not complain because I had a house and I was boiling a kettle in my own kitchen, and so many people in Mallacoota weren't. So I felt really shy about talking about anything to do with it, and I still do. At the bushfire concert on Saturday night, I was super conscious of the people there who I saw, who I knew had lost houses. I met people who I didn't know whether they'd lost their house or not, and they had. People's jobs have gone as well, and a lot of the people down here are in tourism, so those jobs just disappeared.
Climate justice recognises that the people most affected by climate change are the ones that have had least to do with the problem, with producing the problem. And Aboriginal people are very much in that category. The way that non-Indigenous people have been managing the environment does not work. It has not worked. It has been a catastrophic failure.
We knew, we did, didn't we? We knew 100% when the fire hit us on 3 fronts. 3. 1, 2, 3 fronts. We knew it was climate change. When you grow your own food and you have your own farm animals, you see it. You see when your dams aren't filling up.
Those hills out there in the Watt Villager National Park must have been incredible heat in there. It's just showing those signs of regenerating. It just must have been incredibly hot.
It's hard to see that vegetation ever coming back, I reckon.
Those hills are just filled as bare as that road.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We had mature gum trees just dying and dropping their branches, and it was so tinderbox, and it was like everyone knows what it's like throwing kindling into a fire to start it. Well, everything was like that.
From the heat, my granddaughter swing, you know, it's just buckled up, and this one is just
melted.
The babysitters just shrunk.
A lot of farmers are just saying, that's it, I'm selling, I'm going. And I go, but where are you going to go? It feels like nowhere's safe anymore. Everyone saw that nowhere was safe, really. Not being on the beach, the ocean, nowhere was safe. So I don't know where to go from there.
Right up till the last couple of weeks before the Christmas party, we were still getting names from people we knew were there, but they didn't ask because of pride. 8 months, 8 or 9 months later, they still wouldn't ask because they didn't want to, you know, too embarrassed. One had, four kids or 5?
Children.
Yeah.
So, you know, we found them beds. As soon as we put the word out, look, we've got a family now that needs, you know, beds. They're sleeping on the floor at neighbours. You found it? There should be 1 or 2. Just sit it down there. Right. Oh, and the plastic bag with the chips and stuff in for the kids. Oh, God, that leg. I'm on crutches, Jode.
The shed will be delivered in the next fortnight or more.
Right.
Or within the next month. And we've got no slab to even put it on. I was going to just do it ourselves.
Yep.
By hand.
Yep.
Bought a brand new cement mixer, so.
That's what a lot of everyone else has said to me too. They're getting offers of furniture, but they've got no home to put it in. Anyway, there's a couple of goodies there to keep you going for the time being.
Thank you, you're a legend.
All right, see you, darling. I better get moving.
Yes, you've got to get back to that container at 12 o'clock.
I know. Right, well, I better get my backside into gear and go and make a few more.
Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome, honey.
Drive safely.
I will, and I'll see you soon.
Well, if you ever need to talk, you know where we are.
Oh, great.
You know our numbers.
See you, Joe. See you, Mum. If I've got someone that's further out in the bush and they need stuff, we drop the stuff there on the veranda of the school for them, and then they'll come in out of the bush a little later on, or whenever they can make their way through from their property or farm, and they'll collect the stuff there. So we've left one lot there for a lady with a handicapped son. Well, this is where Stewie's place was.
Yeah.
And this is what he's doing all himself.
Yeah, I've got a few people helping, so
yeah.
can't complain.
No. Yeah. Stewie's got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
That'll be nice for them to be able to come back to a house.
Oh, totally.
Well, this is really different because the last time we come out here, there was none.
So.
This is none of this.
Yeah.
Absolutely none of this, as you know.
Yeah.
So you're doing a good job, my friend. And how are you going yourself? All good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Hanging in there?
Yeah.
Let me know if you need anything.
Well, what's in here?
Just your little surprises.
Oh, fantastic, thank you.
As well. Just a few little things to top you up again. I've got to open up the container at 12, so I'd love to stay and chat a bit longer, but I've got to go, Dale. You take it easy.
Thank you.
All right, love. You take care.
This is the bit I think people love, is the rebuilding. A lot of working side by side with farmers, and it's just great to see the boost a farmer or a property owner gets when a team arrives to help them out. I think it gives them a little bit of hope.
This particular crew here at the moment are very, very good. It's obviously new stuff to them. And the team leader is a bit of a perfectionist, and the other 2 are just really good workers. So I'm basically going on clearing the line and putting the strainer posts in, and they're putting the fence up and putting a nice fence up.
Yeah. I've never really had much money to donate, but now I've got time, so I figure this way you're going right to the source where it's needed, and actually I know that it's directly helping people, community, locals. Blaze Aid, although we're not professional fencers, we like to do a professional job. Everyone's pretty proud of their work.
People learn to rely just on each other.
I don't even know if it's an actual recipe. It's just something I used to do for my kids that I now do for anyone else. No one will sit there going, oh, not the same thing. We had this the other day or the day before. They'll never get the same meal twice. Not even if I tried to cook it. It won't happen. I try to make every meal different. Every salad is different every day. There's no 2 salads the same. Radish sprouts. Never heard of them. And what was the other sprouts? Pea sprouts? Pea sprouts. I've never heard of them myself again either. They're apparently very nice from what our vegetarians say. 6 o'clock dinner is tonight because we're all going out. We don't go out as a group for anything. So I've talked to our coordinator about going to the local trivia night. We get to know each other a lot better because some of us are going to be here till end of March, April even, for the pack-up.
Oh, you know, we're going to get the phone down to the pub.
That's hummus, and I don't know exactly what hummus... To be honest, I don't know what hummus is. Potatoes.
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 Are they vegan?
Oh, that smells nice. Eat fast. We got to be down there. It starts at 7. We have a table booked. I don't feel like eating after I cook, but I will later tonight when I come home. I like eating with my animals, but I do enjoy watching everybody eat.
Oh, Julie, what did you do with Alice and Lauren?
They're just sitting on the table, one vegetarian, one meat.
Thank you.
Blaze Aid rules, come on. It's going to rain tonight, I think.
Yeah, what time are we going to go shopping tomorrow?
I have a council appointment tomorrow. I see a councillor once a week, starting last week, for bushfire affected people.
Go to escape.
I know these ones are
There
Now, everyone who's playing is present, happy, content, got paper. Right. These guys are going to be coming from now on. They're just new. They're the Blaze 8 mobs, so we love them.
I just like Taj Mahal.
Yep, just one, yep. Number 1 is either Othello or Reversi. Reversa. Reversi. And 10 is Hungry Hungry Hippos.
I know that one. Hungry Hungry Hippos. Maybe got that one.
That's Simon Says.
All these disasters just made us more determined to take control of our life. We've lived sustainably for 50 years. First thing, rebuild the veggie patch. Strip it out, rebuild it, fix up the soil that had been burnt and charred and ashed, replenish it, add manure to it and so on, replant everything.
The ash. Oh? Ash. Yeah.
And so we've been dining out on snow peas and cabbages and broccoli and cauliflower and swedes and passion fruits and, yeah.
It also helps you get over the loss. You have got a project to do, and the project is building a new life.
So in community recovery literature for non-Indigenous people, we know that things like communities that have a shared understanding of history, communities with close social bonds are actually better placed to recover effectively from major disasters such as bushfires. Aboriginal communities have all of them and more.
So we're trying to get as many plants in as we can, learn about how to harvest them and look after the plant as well, because they're all perennial. At the moment, we're just collecting seed off them. And that's the beauty of these plants, that they're always going to be here. We'll always eat food from them. What a poor little thing. Would you like a strawberry? This is a way of farming where you reduce your impacts on the earth and still get food.
During the Black Summer bushfires, our own organisations, Aboriginal community organisations, went above and beyond to support their own community. You know, these are inspiring stories. They demonstrate very clearly that Aboriginal people, far from being vulnerable, were agents of strength and filled the gaps themselves. They didn't wait for other people.
If we didn't do it, who was going to?
I'm here. I'm not getting paid. Your government officials are paid to do this work. Tell me why I'm still doing it. I can't say anymore. I get so down. It's hard to live with. Very hard. And if I'm feeling it, imagine what they are. I can't say anymore.
Next time, you never know. The environment all around the world is just changing, you know. And we don't do enough here in Australia.
Yeah.
And we got the arrogance, you can say, an arrogant government,
Yeah.
you know.
Directly after the 2020 fires, there were dozens of Blaze Aid camps stretching from Queensland right down to Kangaroo Island and over to South Australia. The work was done and maybe volunteer numbers dried up and coordinators burnt out. Camps closed, so that over the Christmas period we were one of only 3 Blaze Aid camps still running. But as of just a couple of days ago, when 11,000 hectares of farming land in South Australia was burnt, we've now got a new need. So I think there's plans for at least a couple of camps down there.
In WA, windy conditions have hampered firefighters' efforts overnight as they struggle to battle an out-of-control blaze in the Perth Hills that's already destroyed more than 70 properties.
I feel for them. I am so sorry, and I certainly hope that they get
the support that they need. And believe me, they will need that support.
And in an era of climate change, these disasters will only become more frequent, and it's hard to imagine them becoming more severe, but it's foolish to say that they can't be more severe.
We may have had a financial crisis in the world and it affected millions of people. We may have had COVID. We've had COVID that's affected millions of people. Climate change is going to affect everyone.
I feel like everyone is going to be impacted by climate change. And we're just one town that has experienced it dramatically in a short period of time. But like it comes down to it, it's going to affect everyone. And I feel like, yeah, connection to where you come from, or like the place where you get resources that help you survive, like food and water. Like, I feel like you should be passionate about that survival.
It's just ridiculous that our government doesn't acknowledge climate change and the impact. Humans are contributing now. That's the only thing we can change. So why aren't we changing it?
When we have options that we could take,
Yeah.
or ways we could change.
Obvious ones.
Yeah,
As well.
and yet we don't. And I can also have conversations with people and do interviews like this, which raise awareness, and collectively we can start to take action. I'm excited to stand up for what I think is right.
Climate change is an opportunity to recalibrate the relationship. It's a kind of opportunity Indigenous peoples all around the world have been denied for hundreds of years. Managing the land is one thing. Allowing oneself to to learn about relationship with country, about relationship to the land, to the water, what it is to be a responsible citizen, what it is to contribute to your local community. To me, they're the real lessons that Aboriginal knowledges can teach us, can teach non-Indigenous Australians. What it means to belong in a place, what it means to call a place home.
Stop coal mining. It's like taking the blood from the veins of a human being. You're taking it from the planet. You can't keep draining the planet. Nature seems to fight back, and I don't think we really want to see what's going to happen when she gets really angry.
That book is over 30 years old, that Companion Gardening book, and it's got a whole chapter on climate change and what are we doing about it 30 years ago.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind a couple of copies for
Yeah, June's a radical.
Last night in the trivia, I don't know how, but we came second. The hands were all up for next Tuesday, so that will be a regular thing. Now we have something to talk about besides work or fires. Now we have something to look forward to.